Rumors claim Nikola Tesla created something unnatural, a being never meant to exist. While no proof remains, real science has produced creatures just as bizarre. Cyborg cockroaches, transparent animals, and some of the creepiest hybrids. Let's check them out and more. Imagine walking into a dark room and spotting a cat glowing like a neon sign. It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, but it's real. Scientists have successfully created glow-in-the-dark animals by inserting bioluminescent genes from jellyfish and fireflies. The result? Rabbits, pigs, and even cats that shine with an eerie green glow under UV light. One of the first glowing animals was a mouse, modified to emit light so scientists could track how cells move and develop inside living organisms. This breakthrough led to more glowing creatures, from farm animals to household pets, each carrying the same unusual trait. Even more bizarre, these glowing genes can be inherited, meaning the trait passes down to future generations. Some researchers believe this technology could have medical benefits, like tracking diseases or even creating plants that glow instead of using streetlights. Others question whether tampering with nature in such a way is ethical. But whether it's seen as a breakthrough or a bizarre experiment, these glowing creatures remain one of the strangest feats of genetic engineering ever achieved. Cockroaches are already known for being tough, but scientists have found a way to make them even more functional. By attaching tiny electronic backpacks to their bodies, researchers have turned these insects into cyborg cockroaches that can be remotely controlled. The technology works by sending electrical impulses to their antennae, tricking the cockroaches into thinking they are sensing an obstacle and making them change direction. This allows scientists to steer them like living drones. Unlike traditional robotic devices, these cyborg insects don't need wheels, legs, or batteries. They power themselves while carrying tiny sensors and cameras. The idea is to use them in search and rescue missions, sending them into disaster zones where collapsed buildings make human entry impossible. With microphones attached, they could detect survivors trapped under debris, transmitting sounds back to rescuers. Some researchers are even experimenting with cockroaches that generate their own electricity using body heat and movement. It's a strange mix of nature and technology, and while these creatures could be life-saving tools, the sight of a part insect, part machine crawling through rubble is something straight out of a futuristic thriller. But if attaching technology to insects seems unsettling, growing human-like body parts on animals takes bioengineering to another level. This was the goal of the Vacanti earmouse, one of the strangest experiments in tissue engineering. In the 1990s, researchers implanted a biodegradable ear-shaped scaffold under the skin of a lab mouse, seeding it with cartilage cells. Over time, the structure developed into what appeared to be a fully grown human ear. While the mouse itself remained completely normal aside from the extra feature on its back, the image of this tiny creature with an ear sticking out of its skin spread across the internet, sparking heated debates. Was it unethical? Was it an abuse of science? In reality, this research was aimed at helping people, especially those who had lost ears or needed reconstructive surgery due to trauma or birth defects. The experiment proved that it was possible to grow functional human body parts in a lab, paving the way for future advancements in regenerative medicine. While the Vacanti mouse was never meant to be implanted with a real, working human ear, the technique led to improved methods for growing replacement tissues, offering hope for people needing new body parts without relying on organ donors. A cat losing its legs would normally mean the end of its mobility, but for Oscar, science had other plans. In 2009, this ordinary house cat from the UK became the first feline in the world to receive prosthetic limbs surgically attached to his body. Oscar had lost both of his hind legs in a farming accident, leaving him unable to walk. But instead of being confined to a life of limited movement, he was chosen for an experimental procedure that had never been done on a cat before. Scientists fitted him with custom-made prosthetic legs directly attached to his bones using a technique inspired by how deer antlers grow. Unlike traditional prosthetics, which are often attached with straps or sockets, these metal limbs actually fused with his body, allowing his skin to heal around them. What makes Oscar's case even more unbelievable is how naturally he adapted to his new legs. Just months after surgery, he was walking, running, and even climbing stairs. The experiment proved that not only could prosthetic limbs be permanently attached to animals, but they could also function almost like natural legs. This breakthrough wasn't just for Oscar. It paved the way for new types of prosthetic technology that could one day help human amputees. The same method used on Oscar has already been explored for military veterans and accident victims who need stronger, more durable artificial limbs. A frog that you can see through like glass sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but it's very real. Scientists have created transparent frogs that allow researchers to observe their internal organs, blood flow, and even the development of diseases, all without cutting them open. This unusual creature was developed through selective breeding, combining genetic traits from naturally occurring glass frogs with modifications that enhance their transparency. The result? A living amphibian where you can literally watch its heartbeat and see its digestive system in action. What makes this so important? Traditional medical research often involves dissecting animals to study their organs, but with these see-through frogs, scientists can track how diseases progress in real time. This is especially useful for studying cancer, as tumors can be observed growing inside a living creature without surgery. The research doesn't just help frogs, it could eventually lead to better, less invasive medical techniques for humans. However, seeing a fully formed animal with visible bones and organs is an unsettling reminder of how far science can push the boundaries of nature. Some dogs are born strong, but what if they could be genetically engineered to be even stronger? Scientists in China have used CRISPR gene editing technology to create supermuscular dogs, beagles with nearly double the muscle mass of normal dogs. By removing a gene called myostatin, which limits muscle growth, these dogs developed a bulkier, more defined physique. The result? More powerful, faster, and stronger animals that look like they've been training in a canine gym. While this might sound like a way to create the ultimate guard dog, the experiment wasn't just about making tougher animals. Scientists believe this research could lead to treatments for muscular diseases, such as muscular dystrophy, in humans. The edited genes could one day help people who suffer from conditions that cause muscle weakness, offering new hope for medical advancements. But the ethical concerns remain. Should we be designing stronger animals just because we can? If this technology continues to advance, it could lead to a future where genetic engineering isn't just about health, but enhancing physical abilities in ways never seen before. The idea of combining human and animal DNA sounds like something out of mythology, but scientists have actually done it. Researchers have successfully created human-pig chimeras, embryos that contain a mix of human and pig cells. The goal? To grow human organs inside pigs for transplants. Since pigs are similar in size to humans and their organs function in comparable ways, scientists believe they could one day be used to grow human-compatible hearts, livers, and kidneys. The process starts by injecting human stem cells into a pig embryo, allowing the human cells to integrate as the pig develops. While these creatures are never allowed to be born, the experiments show that human cells can survive and even begin forming structures within a pig's body. This could be a breakthrough for patients who wait years for organ transplants, but it also raises serious ethical questions. How much human DNA is too much? Could a pig ever develop human-like traits? The research is still in its early stages, but one thing is certain: science is closer than ever to blurring the line between species. If human-pig chimeras are controversial, then human-mouse brain hybrids take things to an even stranger level. Scientists have implanted human brain cells into mice, creating animals with partially humanized brains. The reason? To study neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in a way that was never possible before. These mice exhibit enhanced cognitive abilities, showing improved memory and learning skills compared to normal mice. One of the most unsettling aspects of this research is that the more human brain cells these mice receive, the more their behavior changes. While they are nowhere near human intelligence, they do show signs of advanced problem-solving and increased awareness of their surroundings. The big question is, where is the limit? If a mouse's brain becomes too human-like, does it change how we should treat it? While this research is designed to help cure brain diseases, it also forces scientists to confront the deeper philosophical and ethical dilemmas of blending human and animal minds. A goat that produces spider silk in its milk sounds impossible, but it exists. Scientists have created spider-goat hybrids by splicing genes from orb-weaving spiders into ordinary goats. The result? Goats that look completely normal but carry the ability to produce silk proteins in their milk. When processed, these proteins can be turned into one of the strongest materials on Earth, spider silk, which is stronger than steel yet incredibly lightweight and flexible. The reason for this bizarre experiment is practical. Spiders produce silk in small amounts, making it nearly impossible to harvest on a large scale. By using goats, researchers found a way to mass-produce spider silk for use in everything from bulletproof vests to medical sutures. The concept is incredible, but it also raises ethical concerns. These spider goats live normal lives, but the idea of mixing species for industrial production makes some uneasy. Still, the ability to create biologically engineered materials stronger than anything nature intended proves just how far genetic science has advanced. Cloning isn't just for sheep anymore. In 2018, Chinese scientists successfully cloned primates for the first time, creating two identical long-tailed macaques named Zhongzhong and Huahua. Unlike earlier cloning attempts that involved simpler animals, this breakthrough proved that cloning primates, humans' closest relatives, was possible. The technique used was the same one that cloned Dolly, the sheep somatic cell nuclear transfer, where the nucleus of a donor cell is implanted into an egg that has had its DNA removed. The success of the experiment marked a huge step in medical and genetic research, as cloned primates could help scientists study genetic diseases with greater accuracy. However, it also revived old debates about cloning ethics. If monkeys can be cloned, could humans be next? Many researchers insist that cloning humans would be both unethical and illegal, but the fact remains, science has crossed a threshold once thought impossible. The sight of two perfectly identical monkeys, born from a petri dish instead of a mother, is a stunning reminder of what cloning technology is now capable of achieving. Dinosaurs may have gone extinct millions of years ago, but what if they could be brought back, not by cloning but by rewinding evolution? Scientists working on the Chicken Dinosaur project believe it's possible. Since birds are modern descendants of dinosaurs, researchers have been experimenting with genetic modifications to activate dormant dinosaur traits in chickens. By tweaking specific genes during development, they have successfully created chicken embryos with dinosaur-like snouts instead of beaks, along with extended tails and clawed limbs. The project isn't about bringing back a full T-Rex, but rather understanding how evolution shaped modern species. By reversing some of these changes, scientists can study how dinosaurs evolved into birds in the first place. While these modified embryos are never allowed to hatch, the research suggests that a dinosaur-like creature could theoretically be engineered. This experiment may not lead to a real-life Jurassic Park, but it proves that evolution can, in some ways, be put in reverse, and that the genes of long-extinct creatures may still live on in their modern descendants. If making a dinosaur-like chicken isn't strange enough, scientists have gone a step further, creating a completely artificial jellyfish. As part of the Medusoid project, researchers built a living, swimming jellyfish from silicone and heart cells taken from a rat. This lab-made creature looks and moves just like a real jellyfish, despite being entirely engineered. The secret lies in the heart cells, which contract in a rhythmic pattern, mimicking how a jellyfish propels itself through water. The goal of this experiment wasn't just to create a bizarre new life form, it was to study how muscles and movement work in living creatures. By designing a fully functional organism from non-jellyfish cells, scientists hope to develop bioengineered tissues that could one day replace damaged human organs. The sight of a part biological, part artificial creature pulsing through the water is both fascinating and unsettling, showing how science is pushing the boundaries of what it means to be alive. Transplanting a human head onto a new body might sound like a horror movie plot, but scientists have already attempted it, with monkeys. In the 1970s, Soviet and American researchers conducted controversial experiments, successfully transplanting the head of one monkey onto the body of another. The most well-known case involved Dr. Robert White, a neurosurgeon who performed a full head transplant on a rhesus monkey. The operation was technically successful. The monkey woke up, blinked, and even tried to bite a researcher. However, the spinal cord could not be reconnected, leaving the animal paralyzed from the neck down. While these experiments were disturbing, they were done in pursuit of a radical idea. What if people with terminal illnesses or paralyzed bodies could receive new, healthy ones? Decades later, modern scientists have revisited the idea, with some even claiming that human head transplants could be possible in the near future. The biggest obstacle remains reconnecting the spinal cord, a feat that has never been accomplished. But as techniques in nerve regeneration improve, the idea of transferring a consciousness to a new body may not stay science fiction forever. If a lion and a tiger meet in the wild, they usually fight. But in captivity, something much stranger happens. They produce hybrids. A liger is the offspring of a male lion and a female tiger, while a tigon is the result of a male tiger and a female lion. These creatures don't exist naturally because their parents' territories don't overlap, but when bred in zoos, they grow into some of the largest big cats in the world. Ligers in particular can weigh over 900 pounds, making them significantly bigger than both their parent species. What's even weirder is that ligers often inherit the strength of a lion and the swimming abilities of a tiger, giving them a mix of traits from both species. Tigons, on the other hand, tend to be smaller and less common. These hybrids were never meant to exist, and their genetics can sometimes lead to health problems, but they remain a stunning example of nature's unexpected possibilities. While some argue that breeding them is unnatural, their sheer size and unique features continue to fascinate scientists and big cat enthusiasts alike. A dog with two heads sounds like something from mythology, but in the mid-20th century, Soviet scientists actually created them. In one of the most controversial experiments in transplant history, surgeon Vladimir Demikov successfully grafted the head and front legs of one dog onto the body of another. The result was a living, breathing creature with two heads, both capable of moving independently. Even more disturbing, both heads could drink water and even try to eat food, though only the original body could digest it. Demikov conducted over 20 such transplants, refining his technique each time. The dogs only survived for a few days or weeks due to immune rejection, but the experiments were a major step toward modern organ transplantation. While the sight of a two-headed animal was unsettling, these studies paved the way for heart and lung transplants, which were once considered just as impossible. Today, the idea of creating multi-headed creatures remains firmly in the past, but these eerie experiments changed medical history forever. A fish that glows in the dark might seem like something from a cartoon, but glowfish are real. These genetically modified fish were originally created to detect water pollution. Scientists inserted a fluorescent protein gene from jellyfish and coral into their DNA, causing them to glow under certain conditions. The idea was that when exposed to pollutants, the fish would light up, acting as a warning system for contaminated water. However, their neon glow was so striking that they quickly became a commercial success, and today, glowfish are sold as pets in bright green, red, blue, and yellow varieties. Unlike some genetic experiments, these fish live normal lives, can reproduce naturally, and even pass on their glowing genes to their offspring. While they no longer serve their original purpose as pollution detectors, they remain one of the most successful examples of genetic engineering in everyday life. The idea of a genetically altered pet might sound strange, but for many aquarium enthusiasts, these glowing fish are just another fascinating step into the future of biotechnology. Salmon have always been a staple of the seafood industry, but scientists have taken things a step further by genetically modifying them to grow at twice the normal rate. These gene-hacked super salmon were developed by inserting a growth hormone gene from a Chinook salmon into an Atlantic salmon, along with a genetic switch from an ocean pout that keeps the hormone active year-round. The result? A fish that reaches full size in half the time, making them much more efficient for farming. Supporters of this technology argue that these fast-growing salmon could reduce overfishing and help feed the growing global population. Since they require less food and space, they could also be a more sustainable option. But critics worry about what could happen if these genetically modified fish were to escape into the wild. Could they outcompete natural salmon? Could their altered genes spread to wild populations? While strict regulations keep these fish contained in secure facilities, the debate over playing with nature continues. Whether a solution to food shortages or an ecological risk, these super salmon mark a major leap in genetic engineering. If glowing fish and mice weren't strange enough, scientists have taken the experiment a step further. By creating glow-in-the-dark monkeys, researchers in Japan inserted a fluorescent protein gene from jellyfish into the DNA of marmoset monkeys, causing their skin and hair to glow under UV light. Unlike some previous experiments where only the original animal glowed, these monkeys could pass the glowing gene to their offspring. proving that genetic modifications could be inherited in primates. Why do this? The main goal is medical research. By adding glowing markers to genes, scientists can track how diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's progress in real time. These monkeys help researchers study brain function and genetic disorders in a way that wasn't possible before. But their eerie appearance raises ethical concerns. Should we be altering primates in such unnatural ways? As genetic engineering advances, these glowing monkeys serve as a powerful reminder of how much control science now has over life itself. Although these are not creatures, they are worth considering because the project is both amazing and groundbreaking. Imagine walking through a city where streetlights are replaced by glowing trees, their branches casting a soft, natural light. This isn't just an idea, it's a real scientific experiment. Researchers have successfully created bioluminescent trees by inserting genes from glowing fungi and fireflies into common plants, making them emit their own light. The goal? To develop self-sustaining, natural light sources that could reduce energy consumption and create a futuristic, eco-friendly alternative to artificial streetlights. Unlike electrical bulbs, these trees require no power source. They simply glow naturally. The current challenge is making them bright enough to be useful, but scientists are improving the technology by tweaking the bioluminescent genes and increasing the plant's ability to emit light for longer periods. While it may take years before glowing trees line city streets, this project proves how genetic engineering can reshape the world around us. If successful, it could revolutionize urban landscapes, providing a completely natural and sustainable way to light up the night. Whether it's forests glowing softly in the dark, or trees guiding the way through city parks, this experiment is pushing the boundaries of what we thought plants could do. Reviving something that has been frozen for tens of thousands of years sounds like science fiction. But scientists have done exactly that. In Siberia, researchers discovered and reactivated a 30,000-year-old virus trapped in permafrost. Unlike modern viruses, these ancient strains are massive, some even larger than bacteria, and still capable of infecting single-celled organisms. The experiment was meant to study how viruses survive extreme conditions, but it also raised concerns. As the ice melts due to climate change, could dangerous, long-extinct viruses return? While there's no evidence of immediate risk, the fact that something frozen for millennia can come back to life is both fascinating and unsettling. That's about it. Write in the comments which creature shocked you the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.